Have you ever laid in bed late at night, scrolling through Instagram, and suddenly whispered to yourself, what am I even doing with my life? On the screen, your peers are showing off luxury vacations, celebrating shiny new job titles, or posting engagement photos under perfect sunsets. Meanwhile, you're there, staring at your phone, wondering if you've already fallen behind. That feeling is quiet but heavy. It eats away at your confidence, whispering the same questions over and over. Why do they already have so much while I have so little? Why am I still trying to figure things out? Am I failing at life? I remember one college reunion. Friends went around the table sharing updates, promotions, home ownership, wedding plans. When it was my turn, I froze. I had nothing impressive to say. The past year, instead of milestones, I'd been rebuilding my mental health, letting go of toxic friendships, and reflecting deeply on my values. Invisible work. No applause. No Instagram-worthy highlights. Just inner construction that no one else could see. That night, I walked home feeling like a failure. In my mind was a silent scoreboard with unchecked boxes. Income, title, relationship, property. Each blank space felt like proof that I was behind. Later, I discovered there's a name for this trap: narrative conformity. Living by a cultural script you never chose, measuring yourself against milestones you never wrote. Society hands us this ready-made storyline. Graduate, land a prestigious job, get married, buy a house. And when we fall out of sync with that script, we punish ourselves. But here's the truth. Your life isn't meant to be a carbon copy. You have the right to write your own script. And maybe, just maybe, that's where real living begins. Here's a truth nobody tells you. Your 20s aren't just the beginning of adulthood. They are the most critical period of brain reorganization. Neuroscientists call it the stage of neural rewiring, where the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, focus, and self-control, is still developing. In other words, your 20s are when your brain is literally laying down the blueprint for the rest of your life. The tragedy is, most of us don't realize this. Instead of investing in the inner foundations, our identity, skills, and habits, we chase after quick external validation, a flashy job title, a paycheck that sounds impressive, an Instagram-worthy lifestyle. And with every year spent chasing approval, we unknowingly lose the golden window to build something far more important, the solid core that will sustain us for decades. Think of it like building a house. You have two choices. One, make the facade beautiful, paint it bright, hang glittering lights, while the foundation is weak and shallow. Or two, spend the time digging deep, pouring concrete, strengthening the base, even if at first it doesn't look impressive at all. Now ask yourself, when the storms of life come, which house will still be standing? Your 20s are that foundation. You can build a pretty house on shaky ground, or lay down the bedrock for a castle that lasts. That choice determines whether you'll spend your life looking successful or actually being successful. Let's talk about a confusion almost everyone faces in their 20s. The confusion between markers of success and makers of success. Markers of success are the visible badges society teaches us to chase. The job title on your LinkedIn profile, the number in your bank account, your relationship status, or the apartment you just bought downtown. They're the kind of things people can easily see, measure, and compare. And because they're visible, they become the pressure points. Makers of success, on the other hand, are invisible. They're your ability to focus, your resilience when life gets messy, your discipline, your problem-solving skills, your capacity to build healthy relationships, and your courage to align your life with your values. They don't sparkle on Instagram, but they are the very foundation that makes lasting success possible. The problem? In our 20s, most of us chase markers while neglecting makers. And that's where we fall into a trap psychologists call the early achievement paradox. The paradox is this: the earlier you chase outward signs of success, the more likely you are to sacrifice the very things that would make success sustainable. Think about it. You might accept a job that looks prestigious but drains your soul, only to find yourself stuck and burned out 5 years later. You might stay in a toxic relationship just to prove to others that you're settled, slowly losing your freedom and self-worth. You might go into debt trying to maintain an image of success while your financial foundation crumbles beneath you. That's the paradox. The sooner you wear the shiny jacket of early success, the more likely it is to tear, because you never built the frame to hold it up. The real question isn't, how many markers have you collected? The real question is, how many makers are you building within yourself? Markers might make you look successful today, but makers are what will make you truly successful for life. Once you realize that chasing external signs of success doesn't bring lasting fulfillment, the next question becomes, how do you actually build your life from the inside out? The answer lies in what I call the ICE method, a 3-part framework that allows you to author your own life story. The first part is identity formation, building a clear sense of self and separating from societal pressures. This is when you courageously look at yourself and ask, who am I, and how do I want to live? You begin by excavating your core values, identifying what truly matters to you without being influenced by social expectations, practicing controlled small failures to learn resilience, and reviewing your relationships to understand which ones bring energy and which ones drain you. The second part is capacity building, developing the core capabilities that turn your identity into real-world strength. This involves training your ability to focus deeply, learning to tolerate discomfort, and developing agility in learning. Spending uninterrupted time in deep work upgrades your problem-solving skills. Facing challenges builds resilience, and learning new skills quickly ensures you keep pace in an ever-changing world. The third part is energy protection, safeguarding your physical, mental, and emotional resources so you don't burn out amidst life's pressures. Learn to eliminate noise, control unnecessary inputs, establish regular recovery routines, and minimize small decisions to conserve energy for what truly matters. When all 3 elements are combined, you stop living someone else's script and start writing your own story, creating a strong foundation, developing real capabilities, and protecting the energy needed to go further on your self-chosen path. The ICE method isn't just a strategy, it's a way to transform your 20s into a decade that builds lifelong foundations, a roadmap for turning today's efforts into exponential results in the years to come. Your 20s are full of energy, but also full of traps, and there are common mistakes that many young people make without realizing it. The third part is energy protection, safeguarding your physical, mental, and emotional resources so you don't burn out amidst life's pressures. Learn to eliminate noise, control unnecessary inputs, establish regular recovery routines, and minimize small decisions to conserve energy for what truly matters. When all 3 elements are combined, you stop living someone else's script and start writing your own story, creating a strong foundation, developing real capabilities, and protecting the energy needed to go further on your self-chosen path. The ICE method isn't just a strategy, it's a way to transform your 20s into a decade that builds lifelong foundations, a roadmap for turning today's efforts into exponential results in the years to come. Your 20s are full of energy, but also full of traps, and there are common mistakes that many young people make without realizing it. One of the biggest is focusing too much on landing a high-paying job or gaining status while neglecting the sustainable skills that will carry you further in life. Many choose flashy jobs because they look impressive on social media or a resume, yet they offer little real long-term value and leave you feeling empty inside. The second mistake is maintaining a wide but shallow social network, connecting with many people just to be present everywhere, instead of nurturing the meaningful relationships that truly support, inspire, and walk alongside you. The third mistake is staying constantly busy out of fear of missing out, saying yes to every opportunity, project, or event, which ultimately leads to exhaustion and lack of direction. I have personally experienced all of this when I worked in a glamorous job that others admired, but for me felt meaningless and draining. By the end of my 20s, I had a sparkling list of achievements, but inside I was empty, exhausted, and joyless. This serves as a reminder that if you don't focus on the internal foundations, your identity, capabilities, and energy, the external markers of success will remain just surface level, leaving your life's foundation fragile and unsteady. Once you have recognized the pitfalls of chasing superficial success and started building your own identity, capabilities, and energy, the next step is to invest in invisible but critically important elements that create long-term advantages. The first investment is psychological flexibility, which means not getting stuck in rigid plans or absolute expectations, but learning to adjust and adapt as life changes. The second investment is relationship depth over breadth, choosing people who truly add value, energy, and support to your life, and dedicating your time to cultivating meaningful connections instead of spreading yourself thin across numerous shallow relationships. The third investment is focusing on the process rather than the outcome, which involves building systems, habits, and core capabilities that naturally lead to sustainable results, instead of chasing goals that are external, variable, or dependent on luck. Finally, the fourth investment is thinking with longer time horizons, making decisions that benefit you in 5, 10, or 20 years, rather than seeking immediate gratification or short-term rewards. By making all four of these invisible investments, you are not only securing your present, but also constructing a strong foundation for your entire life, creating advantages that most young people miss because they are too busy chasing appearances or external achievements. These are the invisible steps that will lead to admiration, prosperity, and fulfillment as you enter your 30s, 40s, and beyond. Your 20s are not just a time to look successful or chase external markers of achievement. This is a critical decade where you lay the foundation for your entire life. The choices you make, the skills you develop, and the way you manage your energy will determine your ability to thrive, find fulfillment, and enjoy freedom for the next 10, 20, or even 30 years. Many young people fall into the trap of thinking that if they don't have a prestigious job, a high salary, or a perfect social media image, they are falling behind. The truth is, sustainable success does not appear through numbers or external status. It emerges from the invisible foundations that most people overlook. This is why the ICE method is so powerful. By focusing on identity formation, you courageously ask yourself, who am I and how do I want to live? By investing in capacity building, you don't just complete tasks, you build abilities, deep focus, resilience, and learning agility that compound over time. By practicing energy protection, you safeguard your precious resources, eliminate distractions, and create routines for rest and recovery so you don't burn out before 30. These investments may go unnoticed in the short term, but they produce exponential returns as you move into your 30s, 40s, and beyond. Remember, small failures, tough decisions, and the time you dedicate to self-development, though not glamorous, are the building blocks of your long-term success. By cultivating psychological flexibility, focusing on depth over breadth in relationships, falling in love with the process instead of chasing only results, and making decisions with a long-term horizon, you create advantages most people miss because they are too busy maintaining appearances or chasing external validation. Treat your 20s as a time for exploration and investment rather than proof. This is the time to experiment, fail, learn, and build habits, skills, and networks that will support you for decades. The most important part is to take action now. You don't need to change your entire life in a single day, but start with one small step. Choose an element of the ICE method that resonates most with you today. It could be dedicating 30 minutes to deep work on a task you usually procrastinate, having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, or simply deleting a social media app that drains your energy through comparison. Small actions today accumulate over time, forming habits that invest in your identity, capabilities, and energy. When practiced consistently, these small steps compound, and by the time you reach your 30s, 40s, and beyond, you will realize that you not only achieved external success, but also gained freedom, fulfillment, and lasting competence that many only dream of. In a world obsessed with looking successful, true power lies in becoming the kind of person who is certain to succeed. Whether anyone sees it or not, it means you are building advantages quietly, without showing off, comparing yourself, or chasing appearances. You are investing in your future self, preparing to face challenges, seize opportunities, and live a meaningful life. Thank you for listening to Kunzy Podcast English. If you found this episode valuable, please like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episodes. Remember, every great journey starts with a small step today, and your 20s are the perfect time to start laying the foundation for the rest of your life. Take action, invest in yourself, and look toward the future with confidence that you are on the path to becoming someone who will inevitably succeed, whether anyone is watching or not.